So it's just really sad these days that, like, you know, a lot of people are hooked onto technology and man-made, like skyscrapers, like the city, you know, like neon lights, fake plastic things, and not really into nature at all, when there's just so much there to explore and discover. Hi, my name is Anna Chan. I live in Long Island, New York, in the United States. And the type of recycled art I make is from sand and seashells. Well, I became a recycled artist in kind of a strange way. It was during COVID lockdown, when there really wasn't anywhere to go. So it was March 2020. And when the beaches reopened in the summer or in spring, I took my daughter to the beach, and we were just running around, kind of trying to relax. But since I'm a jewelry designer, I've been in the industry for 20 years, I was really pent up because work was very slow. So I didn't really have any creative outlet at home, and I couldn't sit still on the beach, and I'm like, let's start making something. Normally, she would ask me to make sandcastles with her on, you know, usually in the past, and I would just decline because I'm really not a sandcastle kind of person. But because I was just aching to make anything, I just dug my hand into the sand and just started making a sea turtle. When we were making the sea turtle, as a jeweler, just working with sand alone, the piece looked unfinished. So I really thought, you know, we need to decorate this. And the beaches here in Long Island just have a lot of these little tiny clamshells, and they come in gray, white, yellow, all different colors. And so it was really natural just putting the seashells on there. And when I started laying down the mosaic, I realized, wow, this is quite pretty, you know. And even though the first piece was really crude, I definitely saw something there. Anyway, so when I started working with these sandcastles, just seeing how it had this mosaic look. Sea life was the first thing that we started. So with the turtle, then we went on to starfish. And after the starfish, we created a seashell. And then it was tropical fish. Most of the time, like when you're on the beach, it's not like you want, you know, you have an idea in your head and you believe you'll find those shells that day, and you don't. So the medium that I picked, since it is from nature and it is really dependent on luck and the tide and what the ocean can give me, A lot of times it can be frustrating, but I tend to turn that frustration into a direction for more creativity or an energy for more creativity, because when you're up against a wall, you know, I don't tend to just get upset or stop my process. I really then just try to think outside of the box and see what, you know, what else can I use? How can I still make this vision come to life? And with, you know, not having the right shells, what else can I use that would make it more interesting? After about 3 months, I wanted to make bigger pieces, but I also wanted to make more intricate pieces, something that kind of propels me to the next level, or propels, like, brings it to something that is not just sand beach art, you know, something that I can say, okay, this can evolve and become something of a real art piece. And that's when, like, and then it started getting cold, because it was in the autumn, summer, the fall was coming, and it started getting cold. So I packed up the sand, packed up the seashells, and brought them home. And that actually helped in a way with the process, is that I didn't have to keep running around looking for shells. So I could recycle my shells, because in the beginning they were still not permanent pieces. So I would create a piece, take a picture, and then reuse, take it apart, and then reuse the sand, reuse the seashells. So for my sand and seashells, I go to a local beach to collect them. And actually there are quite a few beaches around here. They have a whole other set of shells to find. And there it's actually so easy because it's everywhere. And then when I bring it home, I will see, like, you know, as I go, I will go through that pile of shells I have to see what fits well. And if I can't find anything, then I head back to the beach. Basically, step one is to put the sand in these wooden frames that I build. And then I use my water bottle and I spray it so the sand becomes firm. And once it's at that stage, then I start modeling with my hands. And I don't use any tools, I just use my hands. And I start modeling it until it's close enough to the animal shape I'm trying to create. And once it's at that point, I put the eyes in, and then I start laying out the seashells. So the process is really similar to what mosaic artist does. The only difference is a mosaic artist can actually cut the pieces to fit, whereas my process is I look for the piece that fits. So what could have been an hour could take a day. You know, it definitely makes it much harder. So the small clamshells that I use, kind of my basic for most of my pieces. I try to incorporate that because I think it gives a very nice mosaic look, and they fit together well, but it's not as easy as it looks, because I definitely try to make them quite seamless. But in order to do that, you really have to find the right size for them to all fit together. So it's almost like putting together a puzzle where I'm limited by what I can find in the beach. These used to be lives, you know. Yeah, they're marine life, they're, you know, mollusks, things that people don't care about, but they had a life. I mean, as simple as that, you know, like, so for me to incorporate them into the art, I feel like it gives them a second life. Also makes my pieces a collection of stories, right, that once was in the ocean, and they traveled, some probably traveled really far to get to the beach. My workshop is definitely a place I escape. So it's very different to be in my garage as an artist, music on and tune out and use my hands to create something, because it really takes you to this Zen place where nothing matters, and the peace I feel is just incredible. It's harmony, it's feeling the material, because I'm not using toxic material. I can actually take that anxiety out of the equation. So it's almost like child's play. It's like a child working, you know, making a sandcastle on the beach, but I've brought it to my garage and I'm just feeling the elements and nature and just indulging in it. So I feel really lucky being able to do that. You know, having an escape that other people probably don't have right now. Why do we have to stick to traditional material? It's really boring to me to use and make things that other people have made. Like, I'm always looking for a new angle, a new way of using what we have, or even using something that people don't associate with what it should be. So like with the sand, you know, we think of going to the beach with our children, playing with sand, but that's kind of, we leave it there. So why do we have to leave it there, you know? And I know it's because no one really gave time to make it into something or find other ways of using it. And that's where I find it fascinating, and there's infinite possibility what I can do. So even in my work, you can see now, like, you know, I've kind of used it, I almost use it like a paint. So like, to me, sand is sort of like my canvas and my paint, and the seashells also is like my color palette, my paint also.